this test, we're going to measure how your muscle bellies relate to your tendons. And this is probably my favorite one because it's so easy to do and it's so easy to see how it affects your ability to build muscle. So just to give you a little bit of background on what this test does, the muscle belly is this shape here. So with your bicep, it's that potato shape. And the tendon is sort of like a rope that pulls the insertion point towards the muscle. So I can generate force with this muscle here, and the tendon pulls the forearm towards the muscle. The thing that has to do with muscle building genetics is that you can't grow the tendon or change its length. So while I can build up my muscle, this is only going to make it taller. It's not going to make it longer. This area here, there's nothing I could ever do to grow that. Looking elsewhere on the arm, it's the same thing with the bottom here. My tricep muscle belly ends around there. So this area, there's nothing I can do to grow it. You can also see this with the forearm. This area up here, since there are no muscle bellies there, there's nothing I can do to make my wrist less skinny. If you take this and you compare it to guys with incredible muscle building genetics, we might only be able to grow half of our body while they can grow the full thing because so much more of our body is made up by tendon. To figure out your genetics, what you're going to do is you're going to flex your arm to 90 degrees. You're going to face your palm towards your bicep because if you wrap the tendon around your forearm, it gets a little bit confusing. And you're going to put your index finger at the edge of the muscle belly and then see how many more fingers you can fit before you rub up against your forearm. So I can fit 3 fairly easily, and there's a little bit of a gap here. I could almost fit 4, but not quite. I'm sort of a 3.5. So see how many fingers you can fit, and then that will tell you your genetics. If you can fit 3, then you're in the HARDGAINER ectomorph category. If you can fit 2, then your genetics are moderate. If you can fit 1, your genetics are fantastic. And if you can fit 0, then you're the genetic elite, and you should probably start up a fitness YouTube channel or pursue professional bodybuilding. Those genetics are very rare, and while you see them disproportionately represented on YouTube and on stage in bodybuilding competitions, those genetics are actually world class, and there's nothing that anybody could do to look more like those people. You just need to win the genetic lottery. Okay, so this is your muscle building genetics, and the bigger your muscle bellies are, the easier it will be to build strength and the easier it will be to build muscle. However, there's an advantage to having the smaller bellies as well, because guys with the smaller bellies oftentimes, it seems, tend to be considered more attractive. Even if you look at professional bodybuilding, where there's a strong advantage to having the bigger bellies, sometimes you'll see the guys that are remembered decades after their career for being the most attractive. These are the guys with slightly smaller bellies. Now, they still have bellies that are a lot bigger than mine and a lot bigger than a lot of hard gainers and ectomorphs, but they're smaller relative to the truly genetically blessed guys. When you look at Hollywood and actors and people who don't pursue bodybuilding, you see even more examples of this. So if you look at Brad Pitt or Ryan Gosling, both of whom have physiques that many people consider ideal, you see that they both have very small muscle bellies relative to their tendons. If you look at this picture here of Brad Pitt, you can see that he's probably sort of a 3-finger tendon kind of guy. And in this physique, like in this state, his physique is considered extremely attractive, even though his genetics are not the best. So no matter how big your muscle bellies are, don't be discouraged or anything. Just you might need to put a little bit more effort towards training towards your body type. So again, as with the other tests, you might need to deliberately build muscle, whereas it comes more easily to other guys. Okay, and that wraps up the test.